Bratva Lieutenant's gun rose. I didn't think, didn't calculate. My body simply moved. I crossed the distance between us in 3 strides, my dream angel-enhanced speed turning the world into a blur of motion. My clawed hand caught his wrist as the weapon discharged, redirecting the muzzle toward the sky. The shot cracked through the winter air like breaking ice. Then hell erupted. Penguin's coalition opened fire from 4 positions around the pavilion. Muzzle flashes strobed in the darkness. The crowd's collective gasp transformed into screams. 300 people surged in every direction at once, a human stampede driven by pure terror. "Everyone down!" I roared, driving my knee into the Bratva Lieutenant's solar plexus. He folded, and I stripped the weapon from his grip before slamming my anesthetic-coated claws across his neck. He dropped like a puppet with cut strings. A Myroni enforcer swung a shotgun toward a cluster of fleeing families. I dove, my armored shoulder catching him in the ribs. We crashed through a vendor's cart in an explosion of roasted chestnuts. His shotgun discharged into the snow. I raked my claws across his exposed forearm, felt the anesthetic take hold, and was already rolling away before he collapsed. Bullets pinged off my armor's composite plating. The impacts felt like hammer blows, each one driving the breath from my lungs. I grabbed a fallen table, using it as a shield while scanning desperately for the shooters. A Bratva gunman crouched behind the pavilion's eastern column. I hurled my grappling gun like a throwing knife. The metal cylinder caught him in the temple with a sickening crack. Too slow. I was too slow. A young mother stumbled, her toddler wailing in her arms. A Myroni thug raised his weapon toward them. I couldn't reach them in time. The distance was too far, the angle too wide. The dream angels stirred in my chest, that crystalline presence offering power I couldn't afford to use. Not again. Not after what it cost me last time. I threw myself forward anyway, purely human, purely desperate. The gun fired. I wasn't fast enough. But Dick Grayson was. Nightwing materialized from the darkness like a blue and black phantom, his Eskrima stick deflecting the gunman's arm a split second before the trigger pull. The bullet went wide. Dick's follow-up strike, a perfect spinning back kick from his circus training, sent the thug sprawling. "You're welcome," Dick shouted over the chaos, already moving toward the next threat. "The power plant," I started. "Selena's got it." He vaulted over a fleeing couple, landing in a crouch beside me. "Bruce sent me here when your comm went dark, said you'd need backup." Of course Bruce had. Even without comms, the old man could read a tactical situation better than anyone alive. A hail of gunfire forced us both behind an overturned concession stand. Dick's jaw was set, his brown eyes scanning the pavilion with professional focus. 12 hostiles, he said calmly. Bratva on the east, Myroni on the west. Penguin's ringmaster coordinating from the tree line. "The Joker?" I asked, already knowing the answer. Dick's expression darkened. "Gone. Took Shrek and the Ice Princess up the stage's back stairwell during the first volley." Of course he did. The Joker had orchestrated this entire nightmare just to create a 30-second window for his escape. And I'd let him. I'd chosen the civilians over the target, exactly as he'd known I would. The hero's dilemma. Save the innocent, lose the villain. "We need to clear these people out," I said, pushing down the bitter taste of being outmaneuvered. "Gordon." 5 minutes, maybe 4. Too long. The gunfire was intensifying, Penguin's men growing bolder as they realized the only resistance was 2 vigilantes in body armor. I could see the ringmaster in his red coat, gesturing commands, repositioning his forces to box us in. My ribs ached where bullets had struck my armor. My shoulder throbbed from the earlier tackle. And beneath it all, the dream angels whispered seductively about power, about rewriting this nightmare into something safer. No, I'd made a promise to Bruce. I'd fight human even if it killed me. "Split up," I said to Dick. You take east, I'll take west. Drive them toward the center, then we collapse on the ringmaster. That's a terrible plan, Dick said with a grim smile. I love it. We burst from cover simultaneously, moving in opposite directions. A Maroni soldier swung toward me with a tire iron. I ducked under his wild swing, my years of water polo training letting me read his center of gravity. My clawed uppercut caught him under the jaw. Anesthetic and blood. Another, then another. My body moved through the kata Bruce had drilled into me 10,000 times. Block, strike, disable, keep moving, never stay still. A bullet grazed my thigh, burning through a seam in my armor. I bit back a scream and kept moving, kept fighting, kept buying seconds for the civilians scrambling toward the park's exits. Across the pavilion, Dick was a whirlwind of acrobatic violence. He swung from a light pole, both feet connecting with a Bratva enforcer's chest. Landed, rolled, came up with an eskrima stick in each hand. 2 more hostiles dropped. But the ringmaster was retreating into the tree line, and I could see what he was really doing. This wasn't about killing us. It was about keeping us occupied while the Joker escaped with Shrek. Sirens wailed in the distance. Commissioner Gordon's cavalry finally arriving. The ringmaster must have heard them too, because he raised his hand and whistled. Penguin's coalition forces began a coordinated retreat, fading into the winter darkness like smoke. I started after them, but my leg buckled. The bullet graze was deeper than I'd thought, blood soaking through my armor's red fabric. Dick caught my arm, steadying me. Let them go, he said. We won here, Renee, look. I followed his gaze. The civilians were clear, streaming out of the park toward the arriving police vehicles. Scattered and terrified, but alive. All of them alive. Gordon emerged from his cruiser, his gray mustache bristling as he surveyed the wreckage. His eyes found mine across the chaos, and he gave a single nod of acknowledgement before barking orders at his officers. Dick squeezed my shoulder. You made the right call. Maybe, but as I stared at the dark tree line where the Joker had vanished with Max Schreck, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd just played exactly the role the Clown Prince had written for me. And somewhere in the city, he was laughing.